If you ever wondered why male seiyuu nowadays want to be in 2D music projects, or even why rookies now arrive in the seiyuu industry with singing skills that seem way too perfect, well, that is because joining a 2D music project or a group can be a direct ticket for a solo debut. Why and how, and which seiyuu were rewarded with solo debuts after their outstanding work for 2D groups? All these and more in this episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyuu Lounge, I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is performance in 2D groups can actually influence who gets a solo debut or not. In this episode, you are going to actually check directly the solo artists that got their debuts by the music labels that were behind 2D music projects in which they were impressing everyone. And I'm going to speak a bit about the reasons why they were chosen, and you will understand directly why some seiyuu right now want to be in 2D music projects as if their life depends on it. Let's check some of the seiyuu that were rewarded for their hard work with solo debuts under the music labels from the 2D music projects in which they showcased how talented they are. Yumu Uchida with the case of Utapri, and actually he ended up signing with King Records. So, who remembers Yumu Uchida's performance of Mighty Aura in the Utapri franchise? Because this was, for many people, the very first time they came across Uchida and were blown away by his singing prowess. And while Yumu Uchida was already active in a couple of 2D or mixed media projects such as King of Prism and the Idolmaster franchise, it was only with his performances as a member of Heavens in the Utapri franchise that all the attention turned to him. And believe me, it was awesome to see how, like night and day, Uchida stopped being a niche seiyuu and turned into one of the most coveted seiyuu when it comes to 2D music projects. His versatility and control were unmatched when he joined Heavens, and quickly he showcased how talented he is. When I saw that Yumu Uchida was going to be matched up with Mamoru Miyano to perform Mighty Aura, I didn't know what to expect. After all, Miyano is a powerhouse when it comes to pop music, having a lot of experience not only in the Utapri franchise but also professionally as a solo artist. But would you look at that? Yumu Uchida arrived and performed not only on the same level as Miyano, but I reckon Uchida actually arrived to steal the spotlight in what is the perfect showcase of skill and technique I've seen of a relatively unknown seiyuu facing a matchup with a star. Needless to say, all the work that Uchida had done before for 2D music projects was and still is commendable and is at the foundation of why he was so good. But also, it is worth mentioning that he comes from a family that loves singing and dancing and has been since he was a kid involved in music, being able to play the saxophone, the piano and guitar to varying degrees of expertise. So while for many it seemed like Uchida was arriving out of nowhere to steal Miyano's thunder, it was actually a result of hard work, and that work, believe me, didn't go unnoticed by King Records, music label that distributes the music in the Utapri franchise. Yumu Uchida ended up being rewarded for a jaw-dropping performance, showcasing glimpses of being the next big solo pop artist star among male seiyuu. This is proof that sometimes an outstanding performance, especially when you are the underdog, can give you a solo debut. Shugo Nakamura and the Idolmaster side M, and he basically ended up being signed to Lantis. The talented singer-songwriter has been making waves as the voice and face of the Idolmaster side M franchise for years. Just a quick listen to Shugo Nakamura's singing is enough to understand just how technical he is, how he is incredibly confident in his singing skills, and how he can lead the way, even with more technical members in his group, Dramatic Stars. Nakamura's charisma and dedication as a performer in the Side M franchise, which has music distributed by Lantis, may have ended up stand out to the music label, because in 2019, Nakamura was finally given the chance to make a solo debut. A note that Shugo Nakamura plays the guitar really well and is insanely technical as a singer. dreaming of becoming an artist almost since the same time he wanted to become a voice actor. Giving this opportunity was making a dream come true for a seiyuu that actually wanted to do so for years and has the talent to back the choice made. Worth mentioning that, although not related to Lantis, Shugo Nakamura was already impressing everyone with his performances in the Tsukipro franchise as a member of Quell. This solo debut in 2019 was a reward for his proven talent and hard work, being the face of the franchise, but also a recognition of his talents as a singer in a franchise stacked with talented singers in all its groups. Bonus points for Lantis for giving all the creative freedom for Shugo Nakamura to write and compose his songs, something that is rare with Lantis' artists. Gakuto Kajiwara and Paradox Live and actually ended up signing with Avex Pictures. Gakuto Kajiwara got his solo debut with Avex Pictures soon after he made his debut as a voice actor, not even 3 years in, and that was because of a combination of factors. Starting from his natural talent as a singer-songwriter, honed after years of performing with bands, which happened even as he was in college, as well as the performances he was delivering in 2D music projects, in anime series or mixed media franchises that required his characters to sing. However, what was the catalyst for him to make a solo debut with Avex Pictures was his work as Base Suzaku in the Paradox Live franchise. The franchise is signed and has music distributed by Avex Pictures, and ultimately, Gakuto Kajiwara's outstanding performances plus spearheading the franchise in such an impressive way, being its face and voice, were more than enough for him to be offered the opportunity to set out on a solo artist career. And honestly, Avex Pictures got themselves one of the best singers among male seiyuu now as a solo artist, ready to dazzle his fans. Makoto Furukawa and Yumero cast, and he ended up being signed to Lantis. While many will think it was his contributions on Cafe Parade songs that got him his solo debut, I reckon it was not. And that's because of a couple of things that only now are obvious. First, while not an origin character in Yumero cast, the popular rhythm plus theater acting story game, he quickly stole the thunder from everyone in the main group, Yumero Company. His vocal prowess as the voice and face of Genesis was quickly felt, and his performances were electrifying to the point that it was impossible not to want to know who was voicing Kuroki. At the same time, it felt that Makoto Furukawa was performing in his own name as a solo artist in Kuroki's solo songs. But that wasn't really that far off, as whenever Furukawa now can, he delves into that type of incisive rock sound. But at that time, the talk among some fans was that Makoto Furukawa deserved the solo artist debut, and it was baffling how he still hadn't gotten his big chance. Well, Yumero Cast is a project by Sega, however, the music is distributed by Lantis. Genesis songs were made to work around Makoto Furukawa's vocals, and the lineup also seemed tailored to work around his vocals. He kept on giving a show with each song the group released, and when it came to the solo songs, the talk about the solo debut intensified. Little did fans know that Lantis would offer him the chance to make a solo debut in 2018, and the rest is history. Worth mentioning that on his radio show in 2024, Furukawa mentioned how excited he is about Yumero Cast and that he holds the project dear. At the same time, during Furukawa's first live show, with an audience in attendance, he performed one of Kuroki's songs, catching everyone by surprise. In a way, I find that as almost like a thank you by Furukawa for the character having been the one opening the doors for him to become a solo artist. Hard work pays off, but when someone like Furukawa is behind the mic, people get mesmerized and impressed, and that's a given, as he is naturally charismatic as a performer. That paired up with his skill and track record as a technical singer with Genesis opened the doors to his solo debut. Shoya Chiba and Saidam and Visual Prison. He actually ended up joining King Records, so this is going to be interesting. So lastly, we have Shoya Chiba. Now, Chiba's solo debut is a combination of various things, and you'll say, Vanessa, but this case is completely different from the others you just mentioned. And you are not wrong. but I want to illustrate a case in which it seems that it was through a recommendation by a seiyuu that he actually got a chance of becoming a solo artist. And this is rare, really. Actually, it had never happened before. So first, his impressive display and performances with Hi-Joker in the Side M franchise, even playing guitar on stage and delivering a performance that seemed like he was headlining his own show, paired up with his performances in Visual Prison, with that mythical a cappella with Makoto Furukawa, have earned him a solo debut. But I feel that it was his friendship with Yuma Uchida and Nanami Hiroki that actually took him to King Records, as both Uchida and Hiroki are artists from King Records. Especially Yuma Uchida, who Shueisha often credits as someone that inspires him and is dear to him at King Records. But going back to the projects. His performances in the Side M franchise impress a whole lot, but it seems Lantis missed the boat or didn't offer something good for Chiba's solo debut. On the other hand, Aniplex Plus, the music label behind Visual Prison, may also have missed the boat. Sony Music could have brought him on board, but they didn't. In this case, I dare say that while he could have earned solo debuts with any of those music labels, either they passed on him or they didn't offer something appealing. And what happened was that, perhaps recommended by or inspired by Yuma Uchida and Nanami Hiroki, Shueisha got his solo debut at King Records. This is a genuinely interesting topic, especially because now, more than ever, the performances that seiyuu have in 2D music projects ends up influencing their lives pretty quickly. They can get roles in anime series when they previously couldn't. They can be offered solo debuts or even be enticed to go indie and do their own thing without major music labels. There's a big reason why the youngest generations of seiyuu are now focusing like crazy on getting on the cast of 2D music franchises. Because if they perform well, they can get a big chance to change careers, add a different side to their career, or do things that they basically never thought they would do. I love to see talent and hard work rewarded, and in the case of everyone I mentioned, these were well-deserved solo debuts, even Shueisha's that ended up being a recommendation of some sort. There were actually many male seiyuu debuting between 2017 and 2020, but very few, let's admit it, deserved it. These ones, of course, deserved it, and they keep on showing how passionate they are about singing, writing lyrics, or even composing their songs. Some of them went the extra mile to improve in areas they were weak and now are even more dangerous and technical than ever. And it all started because their hard work and talent was noticed by the music labels behind the 2D music projects they were or are still a part of. Now tell me, would you love it if music labels kept on rewarding seiyuu who impress in 2D music projects by giving them a chance at becoming solo artists? If so, who would you like to see getting that chance? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyuu Lounge. And straying a bit away from the episode itself, this month, The Handed Feeds HQ, the website at the core of this podcast, has turned 14 years old. Thank you very much to everyone for being around and supporting this passion project of mine. I keep saying that I can't believe I've been doing this for a while, and yep, it hasn't sunk in for me still. Thanks to everyone who's been kind and supportive in this endeavor of mine, sharing my passion for Japanese male voice actors and 2D groups. And also, thanks for geeking with me about them in the comments here on the YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss The Handed Feeds HQ's weekly male seiyuu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male seiyuu artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening, and see you guys around.